Welcome to the inaugural episode of Operation Football Preview. And you know what that means? That means high school football is officially here in Ohio. We've been waiting all summer, as Carrie Underwood might say, waiting all year for late August.
It's here. Yeah, we've been talking about it obviously in our other show, 2 Sports Overtime, but this show solely dedicated to all things high school football here in the Miami Valley. So if you're a fan of any local teams or teams in the area, this is your one-stop shop for all of it. Kayler Smith and I are going to be here breaking all of the games down each and every week for the 10-week regular season. And we couldn't be more excited. Kayler's first year here, now my fourth. And it's gonna be a great one. We got plenty to talk about.
And we're starting it off with a bang. The first 2 games that I get to go to as a reporter here in Ohio.
Yeah, Thursday, as in traditional fashion, Battle of Kettering, 2 of our most storied teams in the area. Fairmont and Alter once again kicking it off for that starter trophy, starting the season, and wouldn't have it any other way at Roush. It's going to be a packed stadium as it is every year, and this one again just has all the juice that you could ever hope for when you think of this rivalry. Looking at the history, Fairmont, they won 4 straight, 6 of the last 7. So that starter trophy hasn't been in the hands of Alter since 2019. But, these games really haven't been that close either. 2023 was a 3-point game, but aside from that, it's really been Fairmont kind of dominating. And, now 10 years entering for Dave Miller. So
in 3 of the last 4, Alter only scoring a touchdown.
Right.
So
I mean, that's pretty a good nod to obviously what the Fairmont offense can do, but really what the defense is able to do in terms of shutting down the Alter O. But the Firebirds coming off that first conference championship in the GWalk ever. Hard to believe they had never won it in the GWalk. They've been so close. They shared with Centerville. But it was actually their first overall conference championship since 1997. Another kind of, can you believe it, fact about the Firebirds. But, they're coming in hungry, ready to go, looking to build off that title. 3 winning seasons in the last 4 years. Of course, when you're running that hard-to-beat triple option, you got to have a good running back, and this Fairmont team does. Logan Doty, the junior, 1,200 rushing yards, 25 touchdowns last year. And Kayler Smith, you were obviously excited to be at that practice and kind of see what that Fairmont is all about, too, and how they run things.
It's like militaristic, the way that they run things. What did I equate it to? I think I equated it to like sorority rush, how the members are always like on each other and yelling at each other and like telling each other to be all cheery and stuff. Might have been the reason why I didn't stay in my sorority longer than a year.
It's okay.
I can't force the cheeriness myself, but
when
seems
it's football,
to work for
it's
them.
cheery, yeah.
It seems to. That's true.
Yeah.
No problem cheering for football over here.
Absolutely. So
but they were disciplined as all get out, and as you'll hear, Alter knows it.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about what this game means for these players and of course these 2 legendary coaches, I mean, think of like a state championship kind of level game, playoff game, if you will, whatever it is, Ohio State, Michigan, however you want to compare it to the rivalry of your choice. It is hard-nosed. It's a battle every year, despite maybe what the score has shown.
It's been a little one-sided the last 7 years, but
But as you mentioned, and we'll get to Alter, but I know you want to hear that Alter bite because these guys talk about how much this game means to them and why they want to come back. They got a little chip on their shoulder coming in for this game.
Obviously, on all of our hearts is Fairmont. That's one we've been looking to take back for several years now. I know Davey Miller's got a great program over there. We love lining up against them every year. They got hard workers. I got a couple friends over there. They work hard. Talk about a disciplined team is the Fairmont game. We come out there and it's backyard football. I mean, talk about grit. Talk about like pure just sheer strength and thick football.
We've lost the last 5 years, so my opinion, we have nothing to lose. Just go out there, play our hearts out, and just give it our all. Because I'm not trying to lose to these guys 4 years in a row.
Yep, 2 teams that like to pound the rock. Some thick football.
Thick football indeed. Wishbone, triple option, old school. Dave Miller talked about how much inspiration he's drawn from Ed Miller, or excuse me, wow, I just combined the 2 coaches. Ed Domsites, Ed's been doing it in a long time. Dave is as well, but obviously Ed, for much longer, and nothing but respect between these two programs and two coaches. I had the privilege of emceeing the starter banquet for these two, for that starter trophy, and seeing those guys sit next to each other, just kind of talking football. I mean, it's awesome to be a part of. They do so much for these young men too, outside of the game too, of inspiring the youth and molding these guys. So they're great role models and great coaches. And it was pretty funny being at that luncheon and having, it's kind of like a roast kind of session a little bit too. They kind of poke fun at each other. Ed kind of makes fun of himself. He said, "Oh, if I lose 5 in a row, I heard I don't have to come back to this next year." And I said, "Ed, you'll just lose your VIP golf cart parking spot." So, but no, it's all good fun.
Ed, he loves to roll around on that golf cart.
Yeah, he does. That's his thing. Would you say it was?
He said it's elongated his career. Yeah, because this is his 50th year as a coach, which is incredible, by the way. 75 years old this year. And when I talked to him, he just seemed to have no signs of slowing down. And he's just a legend around here. From here, went to high school here. Where was it that he went to?
Coached at Trotwood and Northmont. Yep.
But he went to Trotwood.
Yeah. Yep. Coached back at his alma mater head. So he's in his second stint at Alter too.
Yep.
So.
34th total year at Alter, which is unheard of at the high school level and
100%.
Absolutely incredible. But he's got some veteran returning a little bit in some places, not so much in others. They've got their leading back, Drew Cripps, returning for his junior season. He rushed for 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns as a sophomore, but he's also an all-state safety as well. And then they're going to be trying something new at the quarterback position. Rod Owens, who was primarily a running back last year, he'll be under center according to Dom Seitz unless something has changed in the last couple weeks since I visited them. But he didn't get much time because of a couple guys ahead of him. There was an injury to, remind me of the starter's name?
Gavin Connor
went down, and Finn Freshwater came in as a freshman. Well, he's not at Alter anymore. Right. He's at Miamisburg, so that freed up room for Rod Owens to take that QB1 slot for Alter this season. So they'll be trying something new with somebody different this year. But like you said, just the respect that these coaches have for one another. They talk about how this is such an important game to them, but they know it's such a high caliber game, and they expect to see one another go deep in the playoffs after this, and they want to see that, and they like it. And Coach Dave Miller alluded to that here as well here.
Always starting the year with Alter on a Thursday night, the Battle of Kettering, the whole community's out. It's a great community, number one. What's great about that is, we have such respect for each other, the coaching staffs, the kids. Yes, they want to beat each other as bad as anybody, but once that's over, we really root for each other. That's special. It's a special way to start the season. Having, the place packed is a pretty neat environment for a kid to play in, too.
So, yeah, I'm excited, and especially Roush Stadium looks like it's a great venue, and it's going to get nice and rowdy. Random question, do they, switch home sides each year as well?
Hold on. I got to remember back. I feel like I'm always on that home sideline. No, I think Alter is on the far sideline every time because it is Fairmont Stadium, but, Alter they kind of share Roush because Alter doesn't have their own home field, so whenever
that's what I wondered if they would switch or not.
I don't think so. I think Fairmont is always on their home sideline. Fairmont's always been on their home sideline if I remember correctly. So, the entire city's there. It's a great way to kick off the season. 58th edition, I believe, is what it is. So. We'll be there. We're going to be live.
And Ed's been there for over half of them.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, it's such a great venue too when you talk about Roush and all the energy of the way the stands are set up. It's such a close feel too because there's not a lot of space between the sidelines and the stands. So
not great for us. That's when I've gotten sent to the hospital.
Right,
is on those real small sidelines. So y'all pray for me that I don't get sent to the hospital this Friday at Roush Stadium.
And of course, as we just want to preface it too, because this is our first running.
Thursday.
Yeah, right.
This Thursday.
Yeah, which I was segues right into my thing of what I was going to say. If you're watching this on Friday, which we want these to run because we're going to be getting in next to the games we're talking about Friday, this game would have already happened. So we will obviously hope to update you next week on what that is. Or obviously, if you're paying attention to high school football, you know, but just want to at least say that. Just
so yeah, if you're watching this on Friday morning, hopefully I'm not in the hospital.
Yeah, no. Hopefully everyone is good to go. And but yeah, so but we'll continue to obviously there won't be too many Thursday games that we'll have to talk about either way, but there may be a few this year that are worth noting. But looking at our exciting Friday night slate, 8 games, including Kayler's game of the week. We're going to be getting to that right after the break, but quickly going to touch on a few of these. Chaminade Julienne at Miamisburg. These two, again, meeting in the opener. They were in the last year. CJ won that one, though, 21-10. So smaller school beating a GWAC school is always a big deal. Berg, though, a down year for them. 2-8 overall, 1-6 in the conference. They missed the playoffs, but they have a new head coach, Matt Muncy, the alma mater, former Bengals player. You were at that practice too, Kayla, so you got a chance to see what Coach Muncy was all about.
Yep, practice squad player for the Bengals, but on the team nonetheless.
Yeah.
They could be starting Finn Freshwater. He wouldn't commit to somebody when I talked to him about a week ago, but Finn Freshwater could be starting for the Vikings.
Could be big. And then on the other side, Marcus Colvin, also in his first year as head coach at CJ, took a break off from coaching last year. Was at Beaver Creek before. He's bounced around to a few.
He also was at CJ before.
That's
Beaver
right.
Creek.
So this is his second stint. Thank you for reminding me. There's a couple coaches in here in our area that have gone back to a school like multiple times. It's pretty wild to see sometimes the turnover, but super cool. They had a second round playoff exit, but they beat Bellefonte in the first round. They beat Tavian St. Clair, and the final score was like 60 to something, 50. It was a crazy game. So they're kind of looking to build on that. Finished 6-6 overall, 2-3 in the GCL. That game with Alter too is always kind of a good rivalry game too. So that should be a good one again. That one is at Viking Stadium, and then West Carrollton and Oakwood. Team out of the MVL, team out of the Swabble. Pirates finished 1-9. They have a new head coach though, Jarrell Freeman. And then you were at Oakwood for the first day too, Kayler, of 2-a-days.
Yep, and they, as years pass, are struggling to get numbers out there. Yep. They've got about 40 guys, so depth might be a problem for them again. Right. That was kind of the problem they ran into last year, was not much depth and a lot of injuries.
Yeah. Makes it hard.
Including the quarterback, which is tough.
Yeah.
You lose your main guy. So, Jay Lane and the guys are hoping that they can bounce back and, just get lucky in some regards, just because that's what it's kind of all about when it comes to staying healthy.
Mm-hmm. And on paper, though, that's a very even matchup, West Carrollton and Oakwood, and that's why we're going there, because two teams that have been down, but hopefully very evenly matched game, and should be a good one. And then finally, before we head to break, one other team we want to we want to touch on here is a pretty good one, honestly. You got Coldwater at Valley View. The Cavaliers coming in as the Division VI state champion. Reigning from last season. They defeated Kirtland 31-7 in Canton. That wasn't close at all. Their first state title since 2020. And then a very comparable opponent in Valley View, who is typically in Division V. They're beginning their season. Spartans going for that third Swabble title in 4 years. Another practice you were at, Kayler, and Matt King's got those guys ready to go again.
Yeah, he does. They're looking to do it again. I did ask him if they were thinking 4-peat and thinking regional finals again or state semifinals again, like they did. What was it, 22 and 23? Yep. And he said, "Ooh, but maybe hold your horses there, Kayler."
That's good. You got to keep expectations managed.
You got to stay humble.
Yep,
you got to stay humble. But they're. I think they'll be able to get there. They are a little thin as far as experience when it comes to their linemen, but they're very experienced when it comes to their skill position players. And they told me they intend to lean on those kinds of players early in the season while the rest of the guys get up to speed.
Absolutely. Just like a lot of other teams in the area. And a fun nugget, too, that I love looking at. Since Matt King took over the program in 2022, they have a league record of 18-1 in the Swabble. So between Valley View and then Bellbrook, who we're going to get to coming up in the next portion of the show here, they are the class of the Southwestern Buckeye League, and two teams that we always look to have a really deep run in the playoffs. And that leads us to what we're going to be getting to, of course, in that game of the week, Kayler's first Operation of Football game of the week, and it is another great one. Bellbrook's one of the teams. Tippecanoe and Bellbrook, going to be another great one. They've been doing it a while, and that week one opener, it's always a show. We're going to have more on that week one game coming up here after the break on 2 Sports Overtime.
Welcome back to Operation Football Preview. We're gearing up for week 1 of the 2025 high school football season, and we're starting it off with a strong one, game of the week. It is a more recent non-conference rivalry, but one that's become a staple in week 1. It is Tippecanoe and Bellbrook. This is the 5th year in a row that these two teams are meeting in the season opener, but they've done it a couple more times. It's their 7th time in the last 10 years. And this game is about as competitive as can be. No team has won back-to-back years, and the series in the last decade is split 3-3 when this game is the season opener. So it's a really competitive game. Both teams have some feelings about one another, positive, and,
Absolutely.
We want to beat you, of course. This game has a little extra juice, though, this year, too, because they are in the same division and the same region, and so they very well could end up facing off in the playoffs
which
again,
would be awesome.
which Coach Burbacher said either happened in 21 or 22.
Yep.
So could be an interesting setup for the postseason, and that's when I talked to both teams this week, that's what both of them are thinking right now, is this team is probably going to be the 1 seed game, which is,
Right.
What game can you say week 1? We're talking playoffs already.
Right.
That's crazy.
It's rare, and it's really cool that we are so blessed with Battle of Kettering on Thursday, and then you go right into a game like this now for the last couple of years has, of course, had to be our game of the week because no other game, usually week 1, comes close in terms of what's on the line, the competitiveness of how good these two teams always are. And it's so cool to see that, either win or lose, especially at least in last year, both of these teams usually go on to be undefeated going into the playoffs, which is unbelievable. So, seeing what Tippecanoe is looking to do coming off that 3rd straight MVL title, I mean, Coach Burbacher is a really great coach. We love him, and what he's been able to do with this program in the last few years has really been something special.
Yep, they went 11-0 last year after winning that season opener against Bellbrook, but stopped short early in the playoffs, second round exit, which wasn't what they were expecting, and I don't think anybody was expecting it. But it's something that they have not forgotten about. Some teams like to flush things, and some teams like to fuel, and they're a team that is being fueled by that loss rather than flushing it. So they have their all-MVL quarterback returning, Larkin Thomas. He will be a junior this year. He had 2,600 yards and 38 touchdowns last year, which is insane as a sophomore. Running back Xavier Melton will return for his senior season after rushing for 900 yards and 11 touchdowns. He may or may not appear in Friday night's game. We'll see.
Yeah, could be a big loss, too. And, obviously there's not, Bellbrook maybe have not sure whether or not, they're game planning for Melton or not. But, another guy to keep an eye out too for is Will Strong, kind of was the wide receiver number 2 last year underneath Jackson Davis, who was their premier playmaker. Jackson Davis has now graduated. So look for Will Strong as well to be one of Larkin Thomas's top targets. But, Coach Burbacher, one of the most humble guys, we hear him talking about this game and what it means. He gave you just some of the best sound bites, Kayler.
Yeah, he said, you give Bellbrook, what do you say? You give him an inch, they'll take 5 yards. You give him 2 inches, they'll take 15 yards. You give him 3 inches, they're going to the house.
Yeah.
But he also said what we kind of alluded to before, that this game matters for the computer rankings, right? The BCS style ranking system here in the Ohio State playoffs, where because both of these teams are going to go on to win so many games more than likely. So that ups that strength of schedule point bonus for these teams in their playoff rankings. So it really does matter, even though it's week 1.
Yeah, and we'll listen back to obviously this was from practices before leading up to this week, but here's Burbacher talking about this season here for Tippecanoe.
It's been a great motivation for us this offseason. It's certainly something that these guys that are returning have not forgotten. We're always going to want that next step, and that next step for us is, we want to get back to state like we did a few years ago.
Coach Burbacher has a poster up in the locker room of our score from our last game of when we lost, and it's just kind of a reminder every day of what we don't want to happen because, like I said, it's our last year for some of us, and, that was very emotional because we worked very hard, and we work very hard every year.
All right, that was Xavier Melton there himself.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can be healthy for that game on Friday. Looking at the other side of this game, talk about another team that's basically become a dynasty in their own league in the Southwestern Buckeye, Bellbrook, now chasing a 6th consecutive Swabble title. I mean, they have been the class of that league ever since Jeff Jenkins took over, and what he has done with that program as well. Again, so much mirroring and continuity between these two programs and the coaching, and it just is. That's why this matchup is so good.
These guys were laboring this week at practice. I'm telling you, these coaches had them absolutely working their butts off, getting ready for this tip. And everything was about tip. The breakdowns were about tip. The conditioning runs were about tip. Beat tip this, beat tip that. Do you think tip's slacking off here? Do you think tip's slacking off there? It is, they are trying to fuel this team back into the win column in this series, which if history has taught us anything, it's Bellbrook's turn to win because they just seem to go back and forth every year. And after that pretty significant loss in week 1 last year, they want to get the win back this year. Yeah.
I mean, I remember being at that game in Tip last year, and I mean, obviously you want to win every game, and it's week 1 too, but I mean, looking at the Bellbrook sideline, looking at Coach Jeff Jenkins, I mean, you would have thought they lost the state championship game or, a conference championship game. And I mean, it's scary if you're playing Bellbrook after week 1 and they lost to Tip in a game that they just felt like they should have won. I mean, that team just went and just mowed through the rest of the competition the rest of the season, and had a really good playoff run too. So, if you're Bellbrook, obviously you want to win that Tip game really good, but man, does it fuel them when they lose that opener, just falling short again, for a state semifinal. It would have been their first appearance in program history, rather. So lots of motivation for this Bellbrook squad going into 2025.
Just watching them walk off the field with that trophy, especially as us seniors going our last year, that kind of just set the fire under us. So every day we kind of just work harder to get there. We want more.
They know what it's going to take, I think, to take the next step and how close we've been in the past. So, the standard is the standard. It will never change. We expect to win a lot of games every single year. We expect to compete for championships and hopefully a regional title or more.
Our out-of-conference schedule is what lets us thrive in the playoffs. We play these hard teams and gets us really prepared for in those in-game situations where the team we're going against is really good, but so are we. We're up for the challenge.
All right, so they are up for the challenge, and we will be at that game, of course, and our game of the week, a better way to kick it off. As for the other games, we got Beaver Creek at Xenia. These two facing off in the opener every year since 2014, except 2020. Xenia owns the series in that stretch 5-4. Butler and Franklin squaring off in Vandalia. We also have Versailles at Milton Union and Stebbins at Carroll. So week 1 is here, and we couldn't be more excited to bring you all the action.
Ooh, let's do this.
Let's do it. And, of course, stick with us right here on Pre-Operation Football. Throughout the season, we're going to be bringing you all the game of the weeks and all the exciting moments as the season goes on. Of course, join us on air and online as well. We'll see you then.